Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Randy, and today I'm going to discuss the Skyway 10K. I decided to do the first wave. Now I weigh 347 pounds. I run 5Ks in 38 minutes. I know that is slow, but for 350 pounds, that's pretty fast. And I try to run every step. But when I did this 10K, I didn't train for a 10K. I had run a 10K on my own 6 months prior and then hadn't really trained a lot. So I had planned on walking this thing from the beginning. But it was still intimidating. So what I'm going to go over here might help you be prepared. Now, the first thing is it costs $35 to have your bib mailed to you, or you can pick it up the day before. Now, I live an hour and a half away, and since I'm in the first wave, which is at 6:25, I drove over, which means with the wave being 6:25, I had to leave my house at 3:30 in the morning to get me there with plenty of time to get on a bus. So you drive to Tropicana Field on a Saturday, pick up your packet, and drive home, and for me that was 3 hours. Then go to bed early, wake up at 3 in the morning, get in a car at 3:30, and drive back to Tropicana Field. Now, they had given me a voucher when I picked up my bid that said, oh, you have VIP parking in lots 1 and 2. Well, I'm here to tell you, lots 1 and 2 is a mile and a half away from the bus load. I don't know why they do that. I guess just to fool people so that you don't park in lots 6 and 7, because lots 6 and 7 is about 25 feet from the bus load in. So I recommend lots 6 and 7. Now, with that said, when you get there, it can look intimidating because there will be a humongous line of people snaking through the parking lot to get on buses. And you think, oh God, I'm going to miss my wave, because that's exactly what I thought. And I had anxiety about it because I'm thinking, we got here early enough, but obviously we didn't. But believe me, the lines went very fast, especially if you don't have a bag. If you just bring your cell phone and your earphones, then you're walking through metal detectors. But if you bring a bag, they're going to search it. So you get on these buses. The bus ride is 10 to 12 minutes long, takes you over the Skyway, parks in the rest area. You get out, there's porta-johns there, and then you walk about a half to 3/4 of a mile away from the Skyway bridge so that you can walk up a hill to get on the roadway and then walk back towards the start-finish line. So it's about 3/4 of a mile. You're packed in there like sardines, as you can see in the video that I have at the beginning. I'm about halfway, and you can see I'm a long ways from the cannon. And that's just the first wave of people, because they do check your bib number before they let you on a bus as you're walking through. They have people watching for that. So don't think that you signed up for wave 4 or you got wave 4 because you were the last sign up, and that you're going to sneak on and try to run in the first wave. Nah, it's not going to happen. So you get on your bus, 12-minute ride, you get off, you walk up there, and then now you're waiting 45 minutes for the race to start. And there's not really anywhere to warm up run. You're basically sandwiched in like sardines. Now, people are stretching. I stretched, but I had to stretch in place because there was so many people around me. Then they fire the cannon, and it takes forever for all them people to start moving. And then you slowly and gradually walk to the start-finish line. And we didn't start running until we were about 10 feet from the start-finish line because there are so many people. You got to remember, 7,000 people are trying to run this race. Now, this is the first thing that caught me off guard. First of all, I had to pee, and I didn't want to wade through all them people to get back down to the porta-johns. I said, well, I'll just pee on the bridge, because they're going to have porta-john stations. There's like 3 of them. There's one like at the 2-mile mark, then one at the 3-mile mark, and then one at the 5-mile mark. So fire the cannon, we walk to the finish line, start line, then we start jogging. And here's the deal. So the Skyway is really 2 lanes wide, but they have shoulders. But the problem is, on the far right, you can't run because there's school buses driving back to pick up more people. And then the far left lane you can't run in because it's for the ambulances and the paramedics. So all these people are confined to the center 2 lanes, which is not a problem. It's nothing to complain about. It's just, when I thought about it, I'm like, wow, this is going to be a wide open road, but it's not. So one of the things you have to watch out for are RPMs. Now, RPMs are those white lights when you're driving down the road. It's really not a light, it's just a reflector that your light bounces off of to tell you where to stay in your lane, right? Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but if you ever go down the wrong side of the road, those shine red. So if you're driving down the road and those reflectors are bouncing back red, you're going the wrong way. Now, with that said, one of my run partners tripped on one because it's dark when you start this race, and she skinned up her hands. We actually had to go find a paramedic and ended up finding a highway patrolman that had a kit, and we were able to wrap her hand up and keep her from bleeding, and she landed on her knee too, so she was lucky to be able to finish the race, but she did. She was a trooper, but you got to be careful because that marker is in the middle of those 2 roads, so you kind of have to stay away from that. It's a 6-mile race. You don't want to always have to be worrying about focusing on that, so it's best to not run directly down the middle. Now, with that said, a lot of people don't realize this, but when you start the race, you're actually running uphill. Now, it's a slight incline, but if you don't know that, how do you prepare for that? So for the first quarter mile of the race, you have to run uphill. Not as high as the hump, but you are running uphill. But then eventually it levels out, and then you run for 3 miles. Now, the sun is coming up when you get to the about 1.5 mile mark. Here's the deal. They talk about running and looking at the sunset. Oh, believe me, it's beautiful, but it's behind you. So people are stopping and videoing and taking pictures with the sun coming up, which is no problem. There was no issues whatsoever. It didn't, nobody that I saw got into anybody's way. It was fine. It was a beautiful shot. The Coast Guard has boats running up and down the water. They also they buzz you with the Coast Guard helicopter and the planes, as you can see in the videos that I have. And I stopped every time to video those because I thought that was pretty neat. And of course, when I got to the first set of porta-johns, there was a long line. And I actually stood there a minute and realized, God, this line's not moving, because it was only like 3 porta-johns. So I took off running again. And then I get to the next group of porta-johns, and guess what? There's long lines, and I'm like, I can hold it. Well, that's where the water station is. Now, a water station there's no cups. So the water station is these big tanks the size of compact cars with PVC pipes running off of them, and you run up and open a valve, and it shoots water out like a fire hydrant. Now, not like hard like a fire hydrant, but it spews out like a fire hydrant, and you just stick your face down in it and get what you can, shut the valve off, and then get back to running. They don't want cups flying into the ocean, and all of you that have been to a 5K, which irks me, is cups all over the damn ground. Since they got to close this road off and then reopen it within a couple hours so that people can get back and forth between St. Pete and I don't know where the other side is, but they don't have time to pick up cups. So with that said, I never got any water. They were open, but I just thought that was kind of weird to have water just spewing out of the PVC pipes. So I didn't bother with it. I had hydrated enough the day before. Now, so you run flat for about 3 miles, and then you start the incline. Now, like I said, I'm 347 pounds. I ran up the incline about 3/4 of the way up, and it wasn't really that bad. Yeah, I had to stop. My legs were a little sore, but if I'd have been in just a little bit of shape, I'd have made it all the way to the top. And since I was walking it, I decided to walk a little bit. It was time for me to walk. So it not being that bad. So you get to the top, a lot of people are taking selfies, there's paramedics up there, there's the news is up there interviewing people, and people are taking pictures of the the sunrise, and it's just a neat experience. Tons of selfies, people holding cameras while people run by their camera to show that they were running on top of the Skyway. So it was pretty neat. 7,000 people come to do this. It's a big deal. So I did that. I took me a couple pictures, and then I started running down the hill. And that's when my lower back got to me. And I didn't realize it, but you're supposed to lean forward when you run down a hill. So I walked most of that because my lower back was hurting. And the reason why is because you lean backwards. So the best thing to do is to lean forward and let that momentum carry you down. So when you get down to the bottom of the hill, you get to the 6 mile mark, everything is fine and dandy. Everybody's taking pictures of the 6 mile mark, and it's just a good old time, right? Well, it flattens out and you're running and you think, oh man, almost 3/10 of a mile, right? Well, guess what? The road climbs a hill. So you are finishing this race going uphill. And I kind of wished I'd have known all of that stuff prior, because it gets in your head when you're not prepared for that. I'm thinking of a long 3 mile surface, flat surface, up and over the hill, and then a flat surface. When really, we started in an incline, leveled out for 3 miles, up a hill for a mile, down the hill for a mile, levels out for about a mile, and then you finish the race running uphill. And to me, it felt like the same steep that the big part is. Of course, it's not as high, and you don't have to run as far because you're only running 3/10 of a mile up the hill, but still, it was up the hill, and it took me by surprise. So, but when you get to the end, you don't get anything. You don't get any medal or anything like that. You keep going. We high-fived each other and hugged people I worked with that were there, and we went on and got in line, got on our bus, take our 12-minute ride. They give you water on the bus. 12-minute ride back to the Tropicana baseball field, and you hop off, and then that's where you get your medal, a banana, a water, and a bag of chips. And of course, you get 2 free beers. And now they have all these tents set up where you can buy apparel or get a massage, do all kinds of things. They have live music, and it's like a street fair with vendors. It's pretty cool. And of course, like I said, they give you 2 free beers that are on your tag. They're on your bib. So, yeah, everything works out. It was fun. There was a guy that collapsed on the bridge this year, and I feel sorry for his family. They felt like the paramedics didn't get there in time, but that's for another story. My heart goes out to them, and I hate it. But if you're intimidated by this bridge, don't be. It is a piece of cake, especially knowing now, after listening to this, you'll know what to expect. And, I was worried up until the cannon, but 2 ladies were talking beside me, and they were like, oh, I've done this 3 years in a row. This is my 3rd year, and I walk it, and there's nothing to it. If you can walk 6 miles, you can walk this. And she was right. I walked it, and it's not that bad. Now, next year, I plan on running the entire thing. So, but I hope this has helped you. Yeah, I hope, this could help you understand what is going to happen so that you're not intimidated. You don't have anxiety thinking, oh God, now where are we going? Why is this bus just sitting here? Why are we in line waiting? Excuse me. You sit on the bus for 2 or 3 minutes waiting to pull up so that you can unload, and just a lot of stuff to take in and gives you anxiety. So hopefully this helps. And if you have any questions, ask me in the comments. Please like and subscribe. I'll do whatever it is to help. And next year, sign up, and hopefully you'll get in the lottery, and I get in the lottery, and we're there running. So thanks for listening. I'm Randy, and talk at you soon.